Thank you, Chairman Yarmouth and Ranking Member Womack, members of the committee. Good morning, and thanks for the opportunity to present a brief statement of my views about what the budget should look like for the upcoming fiscal year. Budgets are moral documents. They're statements about where we want our future to look like and where we're going to spend our resources. It sets the stage for whether this country will continue to lead. I'll start by saying that over the long term, this will require cancellation of sequestration, rethinking current tax policy, modernizing our military, and investing in education, healthcare, infrastructure, and jobs. I want to use the rest of my time to address specific areas of need, particularly in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and how your budget impacts those the territories. Congress does not always acknowledge the contribution of the territories to our nations, but the geographic importance of the territories and our own brain drain shows the contributions, along with our high participation rate in the United States Armed Forces. Each of the territories has had at least one major disaster declared by the President in the last 2 years. Of course, we're all very familiar with the impact of Hurricanes Irma and Maria in the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. Recovery is still ongoing, and I applaud the excellent work that's been done. However, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge how much work remains in order to fulfill the promise of full recovery and indeed begin rebuilding. Many of the challenges are a result of factors beyond the control of government, such as geographic isolation. But some challenges we face are exacerbated by federal policy, which are within our power in Congress to change. With an economy that primarily relies on tourism now, the Virgin Islands depends heavily on infrastructure. Given the catastrophic level of damage suffered, the recovery of our islands will hinge on the level of support from Congress to rebuild and maintain infrastructure, roads, and particularly our ports. The budget must call for significant investment in infrastructure, with a piece of it geared toward assistance to rural and traditionally underserved areas, including the U.S. territories. For example, the Territorial Highway Program has been unfairly singled out in recent years for funding cuts, while states and the District of Columbia have received significant increases. I have continued to urge my colleagues to correct this inequity for years. Along with transportation and other infrastructure, a great many of the schools in our country are at the end of their life cycle. School buildings, classrooms, equipment, among other things, are crucial to our children's funding. A lack of significant infrastructure in school infrastructure in the Virgin Islands was an enabling factor in the resulting loss of a large percentage of schools after our storms in the Virgin Islands. As of now, we still have many students who are living in temporary structures, and it would seem more fiscally responsible to put the money into the schools now so that when ensuing and, God forbid, additional natural disasters occur, those schools are resilient and can continue to stand. Another area of support in the budget makes fiscal and long-term responsibility is healthcare, specifically regarding Medicaid. The arbitrarily high local match required of the territories under Medicaid has imposed severe and unstable financial demands on the territory. In addition, with overall federal Medicaid funding to the states and D.C. is open-ended, Medicaid programs in the territories are subject to annual federal funding caps. Once the cap is reached, the territory must assume the full cost. Up to 30% of the population could lose access to Medicaid in September 3rd with the Affordable Care Act allotment expires, and access to Medicaid be lost to the territories. Congress must act to prevent this potential calamity before September 30th. That, along with CMS reimbursement rates from the 1980s, the Virgin Islands' lack of being able to be part of the DSH, the disproportionate share for hospitals, means that for the hospitals in the territories, which were also destroyed in the hurricanes, they have a large portion of uncompensated care for those individuals who do not have Medicaid or health insurance in the territories. The islands territories also face unique security threats, so funding for Coast Guard funding, Homeland Security entities, et cetera, are important. I see that I'm running out of time, but there are areas related to federal tax policy playing a crucial role, as well as increased funding to NOAA. Increase in funding for NOAA's Endangered Species Act, marine protection, essential fish habitation consultations are necessary to address the backlog and permitting process, which negates us having an ability to have developments move forward in the territory. I will submit a full written testimony, which has much more, particularly in the area of tax cuts and the unintended consequences to the territories due to some of the tax laws. Thank you.